Hi everybody, it's Dystopian Wars week here at OnTableTop, and we have two amazing prizes up for grabs. Our first prize is the Sturginium Skies 2-player starter set. For your chance to win, get your comments in on YouTube. Our second prize is the Hunt for the Prometheus 2-player starter set. The winner for this prize will be chosen from comments on OnTableTop.com.
Hello everybody and welcome back to this faction chat for Dystopian Wars. I'm joined by Chris from Warcradle Studios, and this time round we're going to be taking a look at the Sultanate. It's an interesting faction. When I think of them, I think obviously of the Ottoman Empire.
Yep.
And the Turks and all points south. And it seems like they're taking quite a large amount of real estate there.
They are making large inroads, and the Ottoman Empire is now extended into Greece, Turkey, Persia, Afghanistan, Egypt. It's an interesting conglomerate of different nationalities, and they are an interesting faction equally on the board. Like all of the factions in Dystopian Wars in the dystopian age at present, they are trying to increase their holdings.
Yeah.
There are a number of these sporadic kind of encounters on the land where you can see the Sultanate are pushing into Commonwealth territory in the north. They're causing some problems for the Imperium and fighting over northern Africa with the Alliance. So there's some interesting stuff going on with the Sultanate. They're a fast, agile fleet.
Right.
A lot of their ships have the ability to move around quite quickly. They can turn in their drift movement, which most ships normally can't. They have to drift
they have to
forward.
go straight forward before.
But because of their agility, they're able to make those turns in their drift move.
It's like sort of Bedouin cavalry, like cavalry moving around and being very nimble.
Some of the ships have this Achilles hull, which like catamaran designs.
Right.
And that allows them to move really fast if they go in a straight line.
Yeah.
So it means that the Sultanate ships can really get about the board.
Yeah.
And get to where they need to be.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously as a faction, they've massively swept into sort of Persia and points north of there, which would normally think of as being part of the Russian Federation these days, but they are very distinctly Asian in the peoples that are within them, and having the sort of the Turks, it's very reminiscent in many ways of the great empires of the Crusaders and that sort of thing, where they covered everything from North Africa all the way through the Holy Land and into the points of Persia. So it's an interesting geographic spread that they've got, and they always feel like forces that are very much hit and run with the style of land warfare of that. All of those various places, the Mongols, the Kazakhs, and everybody sort of adhere to. Is that kind of mirrored in the way the fleet works, or are they a bit more robust?
No, they are not so robust. I mean, they don't get me wrong. They're not made of paper, but they don't have a lot of the defensive abilities or the defensive stats that some of the other nations have. But what they lack for in armor and defense, they make up for in speed and agility, as I said. So if you want something that's quite nippy around the battlefield, you want to run rings around your opponents, then the Sultanate is a good place to start. But adding to the cultural diversity and that kind of interesting background that you have with the Sultanate nations is the fact that they have been quite heavily influenced by the Order.
Right. Okay.
Who are a faction that are in Wild West Exodus and are quite big in Wild West Exodus, and in that particular geographical isolated location, but don't really feature very much in the dystopian age as a whole because of the way they are kind of hidden in the background and doing what they need to do to combat the hex and the influence it's having on humanity. But the Order, having the Order as part of the Sultanate means you can have some very interesting stuff going on in the background, like portals.
Oh, all right. Yes.
So having portal technology is obviously a great boon.
Yeah.
So not only are they quick, not only do they have this agility, but they also have the ability to just bring ships into play, and also using portals to launch missiles through things, over things, or further away.
Yeah. It's not so much of a barrier of time or line of sight if you can pop it in a portal and have it appear elsewhere.
Exactly.
So you've got a very, it feels like a very death from a thousand cuts kind of move in, hit, move out, and keep your opponent spinning in circles while you just take them apart.
Yeah, that is absolutely it.
Excellent stuff. So if we look at the technical side, then the actual order of battle for the Sultanate.
Okay, so the order of battle, as we've mentioned previously, is the way that you get all the special rules, all the way you build your forces, the points values, the stats, and everything you need to play the game, really. So it's your faction handbook. As we can see, we have a number of battle fleets for the Sultanate. The first one being the faction battle fleet, which is very open, and you can effectively mix and match your nationalities quite nicely in there, or the types of units, but you don't get a particular bonus because that's figured into the flexibility. And then you have these thematic battle fleets that tend to revolve around a particular flagship. So as we see there, we have the Anatolia and the Suleiman. That's a thing of beauty, isn't it?
It really is. So we have what appears to be two very distinct sort of loadouts in those fleets. The Suleiman seem to be very long range SRS, whereas Anatolia is more ship of the line.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the Anatolia is your front rank, get in and start to do business battleship. What's a battle cruiser, but and the frontline cruisers are much the same. They're there to get up close and personal, whereas the Suleiman and the support squadrons that you get with it are there to provide a little bit of backup from further behind the lines. You've got rocket artillery units and additional carriers, that type of thing.
Just reaching out from a great distance, which is a good way to go.
Yep.
So obviously they have rocket batteries. Is there a sort of a particular style of weapon that they favor over others, or are they more sort of broad church?
Well, we mentioned the portals, but there's also the Mirage generator, which is, it's not a weapon, but is a particular thing that the Sultanate have going for them. The Mirage generator essentially disguises the position of a unit that has it. So instead of it being in a particular place, it can suddenly flick to being in, within a certain, I think it's 5 inches of that original position.
Which is terrible if you've just unloaded all your guns on what you thought was an upcoming crux of their fleet, and in actual fact you've completely miscalibrated.
That's it, and now you're out of range and unable to do the damage you wanted to. So that's an interesting thing that the Sultanate have, as well as all the other generators that you tend to get with every faction. One of the things that the Sultanate do have, as we were talking about the Order, some of these lances or lasers, want of a better word, and the Ritage portal ship. It has portal mastery, which again is about making attacks through portals. You can launch bomb attacks through them. It has this helioblast, which is a horrendous attack in the front, the front arc. So they have really good fray as well. They're really good at attacking because they have Corcoroli warriors who are from Wild West Exodus, the big armored guys. So they Yeah, so they're good at getting up close. They're good at assaults, and they have some interesting weaponry.
With the likes of the Portal Mastery, then, is it just an extension, or does it allow you to bring a shot in from an alternative direction?
That's exactly what it does. Yeah.
Right. So when somebody's brought themselves to bear and armor is full in front, all of a sudden the ranks of ships with Guardian shield generators are completely ignored and rockets come in from behind.
Absolutely. So something like the Canadians, for example,
Yeah.
that have ablative armor in the front arc, you could put a portal token behind, and then you can use that to launch attacks from.
It's the sort of filth I love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, very, very interesting, slightly different to anything else. And, that's one of the things we want, is to have every faction have its own flavor, its own specific thing that it can do. We have, on the horizon, we have Egyptians coming out, which are going to be hovercraft. There's a sneak peek in the Orbat, actually. Bit of artwork for them. So I'm quite excited for them to come out. They look very nice.
Yeah. Not the sort of thing you would expect to see on the Nile.
No.
But yeah, distinctly Egyptian. Interesting fleets on the whole. Are there any sort of ships that stand out to you within there? Because you were saying the flagships weren't large battleships, they were sort of cruisers.
Well, the Anatolia is a battle cruiser.
Okay.
So it's what it lacks in additional firepower, it makes up for in speed and agility, which means that you have the option to close, to get into the position that you need to do the damage that you need to do. But also you do have the Suleiman. Now the Suleiman, as you can see, is a bit of a beast. It's tough. It's very well armored. It has a lot of rocket batteries, which means that it can sit back and just shoot over the top of everything and do some pretty serious damage to opponents. But it has a very high capacity of SRS. Yeah. So again, you have the ability, if you wanted to start with the Sultanate, the Suleiman is a great way to get into that, because not only do you get this terrific resin flagship, but you get a lot of plastic sprues that give you an army straight out of the box.
We're saying the catamaran hulls are generally faster. Does that hold true for the Suleiman as well? Is it faster than the sort of equivalents, or? Well,
its basic speed is equivalent to a Mass 4 ship, a similar Mass 4 ship, especially a carrier, which carriers tend to be a little bit slower because they're not particularly built for speed to engage the enemy. But because it's got the Achilles hull rule, it means if it's going in a straight line, it can add an additional 3 inches to that movement, which suddenly makes it faster than even a battle cruiser.
Yeah, that threat range projects much further.
Yep, so if my maths is right, I think it's about 11 inches it can hoof up the battlefield.
Oh, well, yeah. That is a way to close and project threat quite significantly.
Yep, absolutely. And with the increase in SRS range, with the recent updates to the rules, it means that nothing is really going to be safe from the Suleiman.
Excellent stuff. If you have any questions about the Sultanate, please feel free to drop them below. We'll pass them across to Chris. But until next time, bye-bye.
Hi everybody, it's Dystopian Wars Week here at OnTableTop, and we have 2 amazing prizes up for grabs. Our first prize is the Sturginium Skies 2-player starter set. For your chance to win, get your comments in on YouTube. Our second prize is the Hunt for the Prometheus 2-player starter set. The winner for this prize will be chosen from comments on OnTableTop.com.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.